You are 20 minutes into a high-stakes presentation. The slides are sharp, the data is solid, and you are in control. Then, the supervisor sitting across the table simply clears their throat and leans forward into the light. Before they even speak, your body registers a threat. Your breathing turns shallow and your heart rate spikes, a physical reaction that feels entirely out of proportion to a simple shift in posture. You hear yourself speaking before you can ink. You say, "Sorry, let me explain that better." You have deployed a preemptive verbal defense to protect against a critique that hasn't even happened. This reflex did not begin in the boardroom. It is a perfectly preserved artifact from decades earlier, carrying over from a childhood classroom where authority felt anything but neutral. Labels like imposter syndrome or presentation anxiety often miss the mechanics of the moment. Your nervous system is flawlessly executing a survival reflex that once worked exactly as intended. For a child in an unpredictable environment, a standard academic correction, like a teacher asking you to fix number 3, isn't processed as guidance. It feels like exposure, a sudden, glaring risk of something going wrong. This diagram illustrates the instability response. In this cycle, unpredictable adult reactions trigger a state of hyper-awareness, where the child monitors every subtle change in tone. This leads directly to preemptive appeasement, like a rush to apologize, to regain a sense of safety. This intense second-guessing and self-correction has nothing to do with a lack of intelligence. The child is simply prioritizing emotional safety over the academic material. Shrinking and apologizing are logical adaptations. They're tools used by a child to navigate a world where authority feels powerful and dangerously inconsistent. Eventually, this hypervigilance expands. A teacher might raise their voice to correct a student on the other side of the room, far away from your desk. Even though the conflict has nothing to do with you, your body initiates a somatic freeze. The pencil stops. The breath catches. Your focus slides away from the numbers on the board. Instead, you begin scanning for subtle changes in the teacher's tone or tension in their jaw, monitoring the emotional weather of the room rather than the lesson. You are now managing the room. Your primary cognitive load is spent tracking who holds power and predicting exactly where that power might be directed next. Prolonged exposure to critical authority changes your core objective. You are no longer participating in an environment. You are merely trying to survive it without drawing fire. By adolescence, this evolves into complex avoidance. You might know the correct answer to a question, but you stay silent because the cost of being evaluated and potentially being wrong feels too high. If a teacher asks to speak with you after class, you absorb the blame before they can even state the problem. You tell them you know you should have worked harder, protecting yourself by apologizing first. This identical reflex follows you into adulthood and personal relationships. A partner makes a casual observation about a household chore, and you feel that same rush of panic and the immediate urge to apologize. You are projecting a childhood expectation onto the present, the belief that approval is fragile and that mistakes will be met with harsh withdrawal or criticism. The office, the house, and the people around you have all changed, but the nervous system's expected outcome remains rigidly frozen in that early classroom. Interrupting this loop starts with physical space. You step into a hallway or a quiet room, away from the perceived threat, to allow your baseline to reset. You intentionally break the stress cycle. A deep, slow exhale allows your shoulders to drop and the physical tension to drain away. As the body settles, you change the internal question. Instead of asking, "Why am I failing?" you ask, "When did authority first begin to feel this big?" This is the process of addressing somatic memory, the way the body stores and anticipates past trauma through physical sensations without needing conscious thought. You are moving the nervous system out of a defensive state and back into a grounded one. Recognizing that a racing heart is a physical memory of the past, not an accurate reaction to the present, strips the reflex of its authority over you. You return to the environment where you felt small. This time, you have a framework to test against the trigger. The supervisor pauses to review your work. Right on cue, the familiar internal tension begins to rise in your chest. The urge to shrink and offer a preemptive apology flares up. But this time, you consciously choose to hold steady. You remain silent and wait for the actual feedback. That moment of silence is the dividing line. It is where the capable, safe adult finally takes over for the adaptive, frightened child. Behavioral echoes are not permanent. By understanding the origin of the sound, you gain the power to change how you respond when it returns. When we understand the echo, we can change the future. I'm Dr. Wallace, and this is Behavioral Echoes.